Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with actor, director, playwright Katherine James, who was born and raised in Illinois, where she went to Illinois Wesleyan University. She earned a master's from ACT in San Francisco. She's a co-founder of Free Association Theater and the Act of Communication, and is a member of the collaborative called Athena Cats, C-A-T-S, because that threw me for a little bit. She's directing a world premiere of Ashes to Ashes at the Odyssey Theater, and you grew up in DeKalb. You're like Illinois, right?
I am. I grew up in DeKalb.
And
yes.
Why there?
Because there's a university there. So I'm a child of academics. My father was the authority on George Farquhar, restoration playwright.
Tell me about George Farquhar.
He wrote the Beau Stratagem. Oh. So he's a restoration playwright.
So how much can you be an authority on that? Do you teach that course over and over?
No, I don't know how much you know about the world of academia, but there are always 2 theories about everything, right?
Yeah.
So one theory says that George Farquhar belongs to one century, and another theory says that George Farquhar belongs, that he was looking forward. And my father was always in the camp of looking forward. So like when the Royal Shakespeare Company does the Beau Stratagem, they use my father's theories, and they'll talk about it.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, so he wrote about all of that. He wrote about all
of that. Yeah. It was.
And that was at where was that? Northern.
Exactly.
Illinois.
Northern Illinois University. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
And why didn't you go there?
Well, small liberal arts college for me.
Was Northern Illinois small or Wesleyan?
No, it was a university.
I see.
And I always wanted to go to a small school because, and still, Illinois Wesleyan has one of the best drama departments in the United States of a small school.
And were you going to go into drama? Is that it? Was it right away?
From the beginning.
And where was the beginning?
From the time. Well, I'm now 65.
Yes.
I started acting when I was 5.
Oh, you actually were actually like being in productions?
Exactly, on stage. And when you walk out, I can remember walking on stage and feeling like I was home. At
5 years old?
At 5 years old. And it wasn't that I didn't have a wonderful home. I had a wonderful home and fabulous parents and a great family. But that feeling of, oh, this is me, this is where I belong, this is where I should be.
Isn't that great?
Absolutely,
and
yes.
And then did you remember all your lines and everything
you
had to do?
Oh, that was never a problem for me until, of course, recent history. That was never the issue.
You mean now I have after 50?
Then I have to have people help me memorize things. Before it was just like, sure, I've got it down, no problem. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
When you were at Wesleyan, what were you studying then?
Acting.
Not directing, not playwriting.
Well, I was taking playwriting, and I certainly directed, but my major was acting.
And then were you in theater? Were you in film? Were you in?
Absolutely. I did film and television for a short period of time, considering the length of my life at this point. But I stopped doing film and television in '95. I still do a movie or something occasionally, but I have to be invited.
So from Wesleyan, you went to San Francisco, did you?
I did, to the American Conservatory Theater.
American?
Conservatory Theater, and I was there in the golden age with Bill Ball.
I was on the CAC then. I was on the California Arts Council, and we used to fund the ACT.
Yes,
and we used to go to the productions there because we thought it was so great.
Always awesome. The first time
Bill Ball
Extraordinary, a legend, and a genius. I was saying to my cast the other day, I said, Bill said two things that I still say to myself before I go on. One of them is he used to say, once through lightly.
Once through lightly.
Once through lightly. You know, as opposed to, oh,
being upset, yeah.
Once through lightly, it's okay. The other thing he would say to us in rehearsal is he would say, fail big, fail gloriously. No one has paid to be in the seats yet. In other words, this is the time to experiment. This is the time to have fun.
No one's paid for the seats yet.
Fail
Isn't that
big.
interesting?
Isn't that just...
So just try it and
exactly.
do it.
He was a genius in many ways, but certainly at allowing actors to do their best. And I certainly try to keep him in mind
That's
as I
really
direct.
good. And it's great when you can look back on what a teacher does. And, of course, we thought Bill Ball was the best. We always thought he was great.
I still think he was the best. I saw his Tempest when I was 10 years old, and I said to my father at intermission, I am going to work with that man. I'm going to study with him. And I did.
So how long were you there at the ACT?
3 years.
So that was the program, was a 3-year program?
Exactly. It was a 2-year program, and I have one of the first master's degrees, one of the first 3.
And was it in acting or directing?
Acting.
It was still in acting?
Oh, yeah.
So when did directing come in?
Well, I've always directed and written, but not majored in it. You know, it was part of what I did as opposed to being the course of study, the main course of study academically. But I've always, when I say always, 10, 11, 12, when I'm creating my own shows with my friends.
Oh, yes, in the backyard?
Absolutely. Or Illinois, in the living room because it's
Or
snowing.
the basement.
You can't go outside
Right, or the basement,
it's too cold,
right?
Always, what does it look like? What do we need to do? And with acting being my discipline, I'm always looking from the actor's point of view on things.
And so talking about that, tell us what the act of communication is.
Act of communication is, I'm the first person to apply theater to the law.
I think that's so fascinating because my husband was a trial attorney. And they have this, have the way they want to present their work.
Yes, they do.
But some of the lawyers are afraid to do it.
Some people are better than others.
So do you train them? Is that it?
I train lawyers and witnesses.
And witnesses, which was very interesting to me, too, that witnesses get trained.
Well, witnesses need to be able to tell their story clearly and without getting upset, without getting freaked out, how things are.
But usually the lawyer tells them what to do, right? What to say, how to say it, tell the story. And it's not clear, maybe.
Not always clear. Also, some people just need more help or a different kind of help. I know you're an educator, so you know that different people learn in different ways.
Right.
And some lawyers, like some educators, Bronson Alcott, Louisa May Alcott's father, who was an educator, said the problem with teachers is we teach to our own prejudice.
Because we teach what we want, what we can learn.
Exactly. Instead of looking at the person in front of us and going, how does this person look best?
And
how are they going to learn?
Oh, how are they going to look best?
How are they going to learn and look best? How do I get this person to be what they need
So
to be?
were you in law school? Were you in law school? How
Never
did you get
in
into
law
this?
school.
Oh.
Ed Hastings at the American Conservatory Theater. You might remember Ed from ACT. He was the executive director. Ed pulled jury duty. And the tale he described to me, it was like a light bulb went off over my head like a Roadrunner cartoon. I was 25 and knew everything.
Way back then.
Yes, when you're 25 and know everything. Now I'm 65, there are big gaps in my understanding of the way the world works.
But how great that...
Absolutely. So at this point, over 30,000 lawyers have taken workshops with me. I've helped take,
when you do a workshop,
what do
you do when you do a workshop? Excuse me.
I have 2 different things that I teach, but the big thing that people come to me for is learning how to be themselves. Lawyers learning how to be themselves, learning how to structure a story, learning how to be extraordinarily persuasive in the courtroom. That's what I teach. I would venture to say better than anyone else in the United States.
I'm glad to hear that.
Because, if I didn't do it well, I rode a bicycle, I fell off, I never got back on again.
That's right, but you can
But I can
do
do
it.
this, so
Well, to me that was fascinating, and I think it was great because
Yeah.
there's so many different aspects of the law that we don't really know about, and it's become so finite now because it's like the computer going to trial.
Absolutely. And it's interesting when people tell their stories. Like, I'm going to be working tomorrow morning with a young woman who's unfortunately had a child who died. And when one's trying to tell the story, we get in the way of telling the story and telling it clearly.
Because we're so involved, but how can you tell that story? It's our own feeling.
Exactly. So how do you open someone up and allow them to express all of the emotions that they should be feeling,
Right.
but get them so that they understand it's not their job to defend the case and to win it?
That's the point, I guess.
That's really
Do they learn?
hard.
Do they learn?
Yes, they do.
learn.
They do.
Okay, let's go to ashes to ashes.
You bet. Let's go to the madcap romantic comedy.
Tell me what the story is.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so wonderful. Debbie Bolsky has written this absolutely madcap romp. And, I think we need to see madcap romps right now.
I think so, too. You said we know what the outcome's going to be.
Exactly. I mean, they'll get together, right? We know that they'll fall in love.
Because they're two opposites.
Exactly. The opposites attract. So they were a couple, and then they fell out of love.
Oh, I see.
And they're best friends who really want them back together again.
Die.
They die and manage to
They
get
die
them.
to get them back together again.
I know.
Oh, please.
What a sacrifice. But they say to them, now you have to go together all around the world in these very specific places and sprinkle our ashes.
So that was great.
It is just
And
hysterically
is
funny.
this part of the Athena Cats?
This is the Athena Cats, yes. Debbie Bolsky.
And tell me
Laura
what
Wetzork.
come on, Athena Cats, C-A-T-S, please.
Yes, the Athena Cats, it's a mythological, obviously a mythological reference. These two women.
What do they mean, the Athena Cats?
The Athena Cats, well, if you look on the website, theathenacats.org, you see the image of those cats, which are figure very importantly into especially female mythology. One of my granddaughters is Athena. Yeah,
Greek mythology.
I have a granddaughter, Athena. I have Persephone and
love it.
Athena.
Don't
Yes.
you love that name?
I love that. Persephone and Athena. And Wolf is the boy, so you don't know.
It is Wolf?
Yeah, I have a boy named, grandson named Wolf from the other son. But I loved, Debbie and Laurel met at a dramatists guild.
And these are the
meeting
people who started
Athena Cats and realized that there are so few opportunities for female playwrights and directors.
Oh, I see.
So they put it together.
So do
and
they
by
run
golly,
it?
They run it.
I
They
see.
are really the co-founders of it, and I get to be an associate Athena Cat
And
and
do
have
you-
been for a number of years, and it's just extraordinary.
Do you use each other? Is that
Yes,
that's the
yeah,
idea? You
yeah.
use each other.
We
You
use
use
exactly.
each other.
We use each other as artists.
As
and
artists.
support,
if
and
you're
support
doing
one
a
another.
play, you'll get an actor from there.
Absolutely.
And how large is the group?
The group is, at this point, is about a dozen people, a dozen women. So I don't know if Laurel and Debbie are looking to expand the core, but they certainly are looking to give lots of female playwrights and directors, especially in Los Angeles, a lot of opportunity.
Before we leave, I know you
Yeah.
talked about who wrote it. You're directing it.
Yes.
Is there music in it?
There is music in it. There's a sound designer. There's extraordinary lighting designer, extraordinary sound.
And it's at the
set.
Odyssey.
It's at the Odyssey. Projections.
Oh, projections, very trendy now. Projections.
I am blown away by how brilliant these guys are.
It is, isn't it great?
Oh my gosh! One has a little bit of limits, and then as a director, if you just put the right people in the right place, and open yourself up to it. So Raquel, Theater Planners, is
Raquel,
producing.
Yeah, Raquel.
Yeah, so everybody is just top notch.
So they come with the theater producers.
She says, I want you to meet this one, I want you to meet that one.
See.
And really soon into this process, you realize she knows all the best people in town.
When she first came to town, I
Yeah.
interviewed her.
Oh.
So that was years ago.
Yes.
And she was just directing then, I think, or doing PR. I can't remember what.
She is a firecracker. She is on fire.
She has built a really great theater community in Los Angeles, and I'm so happy.
I would not think of doing anything without her, nor would the Athena Cats, clearly.
Nor would the Athena Cats.
I'm telling you. I am
and
telling
neither
you.
would Active Communication, and neither would
and Free
anybody.
Association Theater, any of us.
And Free
any of our
Association.
entities. That's so true.
Well, we went through everything that you did.
That's
We're glad
for sure.
you were with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad that you were here with us, Katherine, and I'm so glad that you watched the show today. Thank you for watching, and keep writing to me at JAQUINN1@AOL.com. See you next time.